Thanks to poor decision making, a lack of risk management, and the surprise announcement of the Omicron variant, the other morning I woke up to find my biggest loss of all time. I pretty much wiped out over half of my account, but now I'm on a mission to get it back. So I've set myself the challenge to make 5k in 5 weeks. Reckon I can do it? Yes, I've done it again. I've gone against my own advice, I've broken the rules, and I've gone and made a huge loss once more. Yep, 5 grand. More than half of my account. After placing a trade that went wrong, I got left holding the bag because I did that thing again where I just couldn't bring myself to close the trade and take the loss. And so of course the loss kept getting bigger and bigger, and I felt I was left with no choice but to hold and wait for it to reverse. Bad idea. And we all know why. But it wasn't that bad until overnight at 5 a.m. while I was still unconscious to the world, the story of the new Omicron variant broke the news, and the Dow Jones took the biggest plunge of the year. And my losing long position that I'd been holding on to for the past few days got absolutely caned, and I got margin called whilst I was still snoring. Now, if you don't know, a margin call is when your broker cuts your trade automatically when your account drops to a certain amount, in order to stop you completely wiping your account clean and ensuring that you can cover the cost of the losing trade. And so I woke up to find a 5 grand loss. But where was your stop loss, I hear you ask? Yeah, I'm an idiot. So instead of wallowing in misery and heartache, I set myself a challenge to make the 5 grand back in 5 weeks. Yes, that's £1 a week, £200 per day, starting with a 3.5 grand account. Can it be done? Yes, absolutely it can. With the right strategy and risk management, you can do anything. However, this isn't the best strategy one should have as a day trader, because constantly chasing certain figures and milestones can make you greedy, impatient, and irrational. So I don't advise regular trading in this way. I always suggest just to aim for 1 to 2% of your capital each day and keep it at that. Having said that, setting myself this challenge has really made me more disciplined than ever, and way more focused and consistent. And having this huge loss has taught me to be really careful and to only trade when you see a decent setup that provides a genuine opportunity, and not to trade just on a feeling or a whim, and especially not to force a trade. So after my first week of my 5k challenge, I made just over £1,500, which is £500 over target. And let's have a look and see how I managed it. So from this performance analysis chart, we can see that on the 26th of November, I had a drawdown of £5,075. That was the big loss. And from the following Monday to the end of that week, I've managed to steadily claw back over £1,500. These were trades not only from the market open, which is what I usually only trade, but from a number of trades throughout the day. If you can spot the V-shaped patterns and you know how to enter them, then you can pretty much trade the Dow all day long. The trick is to learn not to be greedy. Let your trades run, but know when to walk away with your profit. Now, having said that, let's have a look at a couple of live trades from the first week of my 5k challenge and see what happened. Now, this is one of the first trades of the challenge, and you're about to witness something not many traders willingly show you, and that is a losing trade. But I wanted to show you this because it's not all about winning. You don't learn much when you win. You learn much more when you lose. So let me explain what happened here. You can see that there has been a massive sell-off just before market open on the Dow, all the way down to the main pivot point there. And if you haven't seen my video on pivot points, then click the button here and check it out. Now, my thinking that after such a big sell-off, this is likely to bounce off the pivot point and recover nicely. So I place a long position at what I'm thinking is the bottom of the V shape. We hit about $45 in profit for a while, but then it decides to flip and continue heading back down. I decide to hold it for a bit to see if it wants to come back up, but we've got 2 red candles here, and if it passes this previous low, then I'll cut the trade and take the loss. And it passes that support level, and so I'm out. Now, this is a good example of when to cut a losing trade. Just take it on the chin and move on. And as we are aware at this point, it is much easier to recover from a few small losses than one giant one. Now, this next trade, I have a bit more luck. I've actually taken a pre-market position based on the price action of the day. It had reached the highest point of the day and consolidated, making a nice lot of room for the price to fall back down. There were no particularly influential news stories, but the general sentiment was still fairly bearish thanks to the worry of the Omicron variant. So I decided here would be a good spot to place a short position. Now the market opened and immediately put me in the red. Now this is normal market open behavior, so we won't worry too much about this. Though if we get another green candle after this one, then we should consider cutting it. But it's turned red and it's coming back down again. Now I'm going to speed this up a bit so you can see what happened here. And a couple of minutes in, the price did what I expected it to do, and now we're in profit. We've had a couple of lovely big spikes down and the price continues to make lower lows. Now I usually would take about 1% and walk away, but because of my 5k challenge and I'm letting my trades run a little bit longer than I usually would, I thought I'd let this play out. And it consolidated for a while here, which made me feel it might reverse and come back up again. But luckily enough it didn't, and it kept falling. So I trailed the stop loss all the way down and it just kept on going until I eventually got stopped out, banking around £460. Now they're the kind of trades we dream about. And this next example is an intraday trade made at 5:30 PM UK time. I can see a potential upside down V-shaped pattern forming, and I'm using the pivot points to help me determine where the top of the V might be. So I'm going to wait until we hit that pivot point and see if the price bounces off. I'm also looking at the previous V-shaped pattern and seeing if the same shape might form again by using the top of the previous V-shape as the resistance level. So it's passed through the pivot point and we wait and see if we get a red candle, and that'll indicate to me that we might be on the way back down, forming the other half of the V. Here's the red candle, and so I make a short entry. And if I speed this up, we can see the upside down V shape forming. Now, unfortunately, I was too greedy on this occasion and it came back and hit my stop loss. So I only bagged $45 when I could have had over $200. But there you go. So at the end of the first week, I'm up by £1,500. I'm a little over my target and I'm liking my newfound confidence. I think every trader should really experience a big loss like this because it teaches you so much. It teaches you that trading can sometimes feel kind of like it's not real. And it's a bit of a game, or sometimes we make decisions like a gambler. So taking a big hit like I did really slaps you around the face and wakes you up, reminding you that this is no joke. It's your money that's on the line and you need to protect it in every which way you can. And you can only really appreciate this when you actually wipe out a huge chunk of your account. So take it from me, really work on your strategy, only trade when a decent setup presents itself to you, and don't be left holding the bag, especially if that bag is getting bigger and bigger. Just cut it and move on, man. So look out for my next video where I'll go through the next week of my 5k challenge. Let's hope I'm still on target and that I've not made any more stupid mistakes. Now show some love with the old likey and subscribey, and I'll see you next time right here on Math Market.